So hi guys, Tim and Toby back for the third episode in the Far East campaign, and this episode we'll be looking at the fall of Singapore, a really quite, it's quite well, I wouldn't say unheard of, it's very heard of, but I mean it's not as famous as some other incidents which happened during the Far East campaign, like Burma and other places. But yeah, so the fall of Singapore, which was captured by the Japanese in February 1942, or to be more specific, the whole of kind of the Singapore capture and the fall of Singapore really took place between the 8th and the 15th of February 1942, where I can't actually remember the actual specific regiment or in the British Army which took part or really got captured by the Japanese, but the Japanese took 80,000 POWs, prisoners of wars, at Singapore, and roughly 5,000 wounded and killed. That's British, that is. Of the British 18th Infantry Division as well. Of course, there were Australians, there was Indians as well defending it, but this was mostly the British kind of sector. The commander of the 18th Infantry Division at that time, who was a POW himself, was Arthur Percival, who got captured by the Japanese, as well as the others, as well as the other 80,000 British, 80,000 Indian, Australian, British troops as well. Singapore, really, for the British, was basically a lifeline in communications and trade at that time. But what the Japanese wanted to capture it for the exact same reason, for trade, everything like that. So I'll just pass you on to Toby, and he will continue the story. So Toby?
Yes, so the British, when they were building the defences around Singapore, really expected a very head-on, front-on attack. Now, it wasn't quite as much of a kind of, destroying as a lot of people suggest, but it certainly didn't go too well. All of our concrete emplacements were basically facing the sea, and when the Japanese then used bicycles to where they'd landed somewhere else basically, and outflanked us completely, they then just sort of, just smoked in and effectively destroyed most of the British defences, putting in, how much was it? Probably nearly 100,000 British troops into captivity, which really isn't very good at all, because the Japanese treated prisoners absolutely disgustingly throughout the whole of the Second World War. Really, really badly. They even, when they captured one of the hospitals, they actually just massacred the prisoners, well, not prisoners, but patients that were there. So, it was really, really bad time for the troops there. Someone we know actually, their father was actually one of the troops taken prisoner there. And he really never recovered at all. He was he always had slight issues and was just, he still have his campaign medals, which they brought out on the VJ Day, so I could ever see. But, never forget that at all. So, hand you back over to Tim.
Right, thanks Toby. As Toby was just explaining there about the horrific suffering that the Japanese would give their enemy, or us, basically the British and other allied Commonwealth troops. The Japanese even used to use live bayonet practicing, or really shall I say bayonet practicing, on live British or, on their prisoners, whilst they were alive. Which, they got their training in, but I mean they could have done it against sandbags and not against live prisoner of wars. But that's the Japanese back then, the Japanese army in their way, or really the Imperial Japanese Empire. And also Japan wanted to expand their empire, like a lot of Imperial Germany and British Empire, load they wanted to do. So, is there anything, Toby, you'd like to mention before ending the video?
I don't think so. So I'll hand you back to Tim
Right,
to end the video.
Okay, thanks, Toby. So, thanks for watching, guys. This has been episode 3, The Fall of Singapore in 1942. Next episode will be looking at episode 4 on the Kokota Forest, which is specifically April 1942, and we'll see how the Australians coped with that. So, thanks for watching, guys. Have a good one, and see you in the next episode.